Okay, discipline is an illusion for the most part. It's something that people in power positions, quote unquote, will use to try and get you to behave a certain way, whether that's a boss, a teacher, whoever. And when I say discipline is an illusion, I don't mean hard work is an illusion. I mean pushing yourself to work hard on the wrong things without any direction is a straightforward path to just suffering and just loneliness. There's this quote that I heard. You might have heard it before, but it's, if hard work led to success, then the donkey would own the farm. What that's really saying is that when you are just grinding away, doesn't matter how hard you work, doesn't matter what you're doing, doesn't matter if you're the best donkey the world has ever seen, when you're disciplined on something without actually aiming towards anything, you're just spinning in circles. What took me super long to realize is the only path to what I would say is true fulfillment is doing things most people have to force themselves to do, but to you it feels like nothing. It feels natural. It feels like fun. You know, for example, I've been grinding. I've been in this grind mode that I'm talking about right now. Disciplined in the wrong ways, I would say, as far as what I'm doing for work and how I'm making money right now. But at the same time, when I'm training, I am almost obsessive with it. I train so hard every single day, and to the outside or to most people, it would look like I'm super disciplined. I'm just, I'm forcing myself into the gym and I'm forcing myself to learn new techniques and do all this stuff, but it's not what's happening at all. Of course, I don't feel great every single day. You won't feel great every single day when you show up to something, but when you truly enjoy something, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you feel like shit. It doesn't matter if you feel great. You're going to do it regardless because you love to do it, and it's part of who you are. But where I think so many people go wrong, including myself, is being disciplined and working hard just for the sake of working hard or just for the sake of being disciplined. This exact thing, being almost caught in it, has been one of the hardest problems I've ever had to solve. One of the hardest codes I've ever had to crack. I have on the outside what appears to be a nice life. I have a good job. I have a good, routine. You could say I have a good social life. I have everything that you would think that you need on the outside. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to work. I'm doing well. But at the end of every single day, I would sit down late at night and just be like, what am I even doing all this for? Everybody that knows me would look at what I'm doing and be like, yeah, he's doing great. He's on a great path. And I'm just sat there like this. There's this gaping hole just inside of my what I don't even know what you call it. Just inside of me that knows that this is not the answer. It's not. I've unconsciously been suffering for the sake of suffering, I would say, doing hard work just for the sake of doing hard work, and not realizing that things can be easy if you let them be. You can work hard without being miserable. It is possible, and I realize that going to the gym and training every single day, jiu-jitsu and kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, every single day, it is hard. It is very hard, but I always leave feeling incredible, and I'm always having so much fun while I do it. Even if I'm getting absolutely smushed on the ground by a brown belt. It's on the surface you might look like, oh, this does not look fun, but I'm learning things. I'm getting problems thrown at my face, literally and figuratively, having to solve them in real time. And once it's over, I have a new perspective. I've learned new things, and I've gotten stronger. I've gotten better. I've built a stronger relationship with God than I ever have. That has been huge for me, because that was the only place that I had to turn. A few months ago, when I was at a pretty low point, I would say, without expressing yourself, without creating something in some way. That seems to me like the path to like a spiritual lobotomy. You just become a droid. You become a clone. You become a robot that is pursuing goals for another person or a company that you don't really care about. If we're being honest, you're not passionate about the problems you're solving. But over time, I see people get like tricked. They get, just by following this idea of discipline and grinding and progress, into chasing goals that are not theirs, which ultimately leads to, like I said earlier, suffering and just an empty void. But eventually it can catch up to you where you almost trick yourself into thinking it's fulfilling. Being, a grinder and being disciplined for other people, for other things that are not yours, is the fastest way to just be miserable. Because that is ultimately the biggest thing that we have to do as humans, is create and express ourselves in some way, shape, or form. And it'll look different for everybody. Maybe it's not coming on here and talking to a phone or a camera on YouTube or social media for you, but maybe it is. I just need you to understand that no matter what your current circumstances are, let the hard work or the hardest work that you do be on yourself and be on things that are beyond yourself, greater than yourself. So that, no matter what happens, when you are going through the daily grind, you're going to work, you're going to the gym, you have something in the back of your mind that's keeping you going. It's not just a circular routine that you're stuck in, you can't avoid, you can't escape, and you have no time to do anything else. Talking, expressing my ideas, creating things makes me feel good. And when I'm not doing that, there's a massive energy block. I feel clogged, and I've spent months in that exact position, that same feeling. It's not fun. I just ask that you just be intentional for 30 minutes to an hour a day on something that means something to you. Something that, if you stick with it long enough, can change your life and other people's lives. The last thing I want is you to look back at any point and think about all the things that you wanted to do but you didn't, because you had an excuse, you had twisted, weird belief in your head, you had some sort of misframed ideology that was holding you back. So discipline is a tool. It's not a destination. The end goal is not to be disciplined 24/7 all day, every day, just for the sake of being disciplined. You need to have clarity. You need to identify what it is that you can work on that brings meaning to your life, and be disciplined in service of that. That's, in my experience, in my opinion, the only way really to live a purposeful, meaningful life. And I'm still working on it. I'm still figuring it out. And at the end of the day, this is me going back to square one, step one, and starting from there. Thank you for watching.